It was a night of torrential rain. I was driving a Bentley Mulsanne, and the owner, a 25-year-old CEO in absolute knockout, was currently passed out drunk in the back seat. Suddenly, an electric bike cut across the road. I slammed on the brakes. The seatbelt dug sharply into my chest, but in the back, she wasn't strapped in. She flew forward, crashing straight into me. A shocking softness and warmth pressed against me through her thin silk blouse. The scent of cold rain, expensive perfume, and alcohol filled my nose. My heart rate instantly spiked out of control. My mind went blank, paralyzed by the sudden intimacy. Just then, a blindingly bright red Ferrari swerved in front of us, blocking the road. A furious man stormed out, her fiancé. He pointed a finger in my face, screaming that I was nothing but a gutter rat. I thought I was finished. But then, she lifted her heavy eyelids, looked at me with a hazy, intoxicated gaze, and asked, "Do you want a different kind of life?" The rain felt like it was trying to smash the world to pieces. The drops hammered against the Bentley's windows like bullets, creating a dull, rhythmic thrumming. Inside, the silence was heavy, the air thick and strangely hot. "My name is Caleb Reed. I'm a designated driver." The woman in the back is Elena Sterling, 25, the CEO of a publicly traded company, and my client for the night. She had consumed a lot of alcohol. Her porcelain cheeks were flushed a deep, unnatural crimson. Her beautiful eyes were closed, long lashes trembling occasionally as if her sleep was plagued by bad dreams. The cabin was saturated with her scent, a mix of high-end fragrance and gin, crisp, intoxicating, and messing with my head. My hands, gripping the leather steering wheel, were slick with sweat. That's when the high beams blinded me from a side street. The rogue e-bike ghosted across the wet asphalt. My pupils contracted. Before my brain could process the danger, my body reacted on instinct. I stomped on the brake pedal. Screech! Tires screamed against the wet pavement. The multi-million-dollar Bentley skidded, carving a short arc before shuddering to a halt. The seatbelt locked, pinning me to the seat, knocking the wind out of me. Before I could catch my breath, a massive force hit me from behind. Thud! A soft, warm body collided solidly with my back and neck. It was Elena. She hadn't buckled up. My body went rigid. The incredible softness and elasticity of her pressed against me. The sensation transmitting clearly through my cheap shirt to every inch of my skin. It wasn't just a collision. It felt like an embrace. The impact seemed to make her dizzier. Her entire weight slumped onto me, her head lolling onto my shoulder. Her hot breath ghosted over my ear, wet and ticklish. My Adam's apple bobbed uncontrollably. My throat felt like sandpaper. It felt like an invisible hand had gripped my heart and squeezed. Blood rushed to my head. Ms. Sterling. I tried to speak, my voice rasping. She didn't respond, only letting out a soft, dreamlike murmur. She shifted, rubbing against me as if trying to find a more comfortable position. I could feel her curves molding against my back, a tactile sensation I had never experienced in my life. Every muscle in my body pulled tight. I didn't dare move. I barely dared to breathe, terrified that the slightest motion would shatter this bizarre, charged equilibrium. Then came the horn. Hunk! A piercing blast cut through the rain. A fire-red Ferrari aggressively pulled up, blocking our path. The door flew open, and a young man in a designer suit, hair slicked back with oil, stormed out into the downpour. He marched straight to the Bentley and ripped open the passenger door. "Elena, you drank too much again. Do you know how many times I called you?" His voice died the instant he saw the interior. His gaze traveled from the empty back seat to the driver's seat, finally locking onto me, and Elena, who was draped intimately over my shoulder. The young man's face went from angry to a shade of livid purple. Fire seemed to ignite in his eyes. This was Julian Vance, Elena's fiancé, the notorious trust fund baby in Chicago. "Who the hell are you?" Julian's voice sounded like it was squeezed through grinding teeth, vibrating with violence and humiliation. I immediately tried to explain. I'm a driver." "A driver? And you dare touch my woman?" He didn't give me a chance to speak. He lunged forward, grabbing my collar, and yanked me out of the car with surprising strength. "Get the hell out." My head slammed against the doorframe. Vision blurred for a second. The freezing rain instantly soaked me to the bone. "Mr. Vance, you misunderstand. It was an accident." I tried to explain through the deluge. "Misunderstand?" Julian sneered, the contempt in his eyes thick enough to choke on. "A filthy driver? A loser wearing an outfit worth less than $50? Do you think you're even worthy of speaking to her?" He jabbed a finger at my nose, enunciating every word. Right now, on your knees, apologize, or I will make sure you never find work in this city again. Water streamed down my face. I couldn't tell if it was rain or cold sweat. Humiliation, cold and venomous, spit in my heart. I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms. Suddenly, a voice cut through the noise, cool, detached, yet carrying a hint of drowsiness. Julian, haven't you made enough of a scene? Elena was awake. She slowly sat up, rubbing her temples. Her phoenix-like eyes, glazed with sleep, swept over the scene. Her gaze landed first on me, soaked, disheveled, pathetic, pausing for a second before turning to the enraged Julian. Since when is it your job to discipline my driver? Julian's expression froze. He clearly hadn't expected Elena to side with a hired hand against him. Elena, you're drunk. Look clearly. This pauper was taking advantage of you. He pointed at me, his voice cracking with rage. He was just. I'm not blind. Elena cut him off coldly. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable authority. Her beautiful eyes had cleared significantly. The drunkenness was receding, replaced by icy scrutiny. She looked at me, then at the interior of the car. She seemed to deduce exactly what had happened in an instant. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He braked hard, and I fell forward. She stated the facts flatly. Julian's face turned the color of raw liver. He pointed at me, then at Elena, lips trembling, unable to form a coherent sentence. You're actually siding with the driver. He's not a driver. Elena spoke again, her eyes fixing on me. He is my employee. I froze. Julian froze. Elena ignored our reactions. She reached into her exquisite clutch, pulled out a business card, and handed it to me through the window. Caleb Reed, right? I nodded subconsciously, taking the car mechanically. It was black, heavy stock, with gold embossing. Just a phone number and a name, Elena Sterling. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Come to my office. HR will process your onboarding. Her voice was calm, but it exploded like thunder in my ears. Julian looked like he was about to have a stroke. He stared at me with murder in his eyes. Elena, are you insane? You're letting trash like this into your company. It's my company. I decide. Elena didn't even look at him. Her tone was impatient. And Julian, I'm warning you. Stay away from my employees. With that, she slammed the passenger door shut. Then she looked at me through the windshield. Drive to the Highland Park estate. I gripped the card, which still held her body heat. My palm burned. My brain was still rebooting. Looking at Julian's face, twisted with rage and jealousy, a strange, unprecedented feeling rose from the bottom of my heart. It wasn't the thrill of revenge, but the shock of being acknowledged, defended. I took a deep breath, suppressing the surging emotions, climbed back into the driver's seat, and started the engine. The Bentley glided smoothly past the Ferrari, spraying a wave of water. In the rearview mirror, I saw Julian standing there like a furious statue, looking utterly ridiculous in the pouring rain. The atmosphere in the car turned quiet again. Elena didn't speak. She just leaned back, closing her eyes, as if nothing had happened. But I couldn't calm down. My heart was still hammering. I stole a glance at her through the mirror. She was truly beautiful. Not a soft, fragile beauty, but a sharp, powerful kind. Exquisite features, a high-nose bridge, thin lips. Together, they formed a face that was strikingly aggressive. Especially with that keep-away aura she radiated, making her seem untouchable. Yet this iceberg of a woman had just publicly reprimanded her fiancé for me. Why? Just because I was her employee? I didn't dare think too much about it. I focused on driving. 20 minutes later, the car stopped smoothly in front of a luxury villa halfway up the hillside. Ms. Sterling, we're here. Elena opened her eyes and hummed an acknowledgement. The alcohol seemed to be hitting her again. She rubbed the space between her eyebrows, looking exhausted. Will you come tomorrow? She asked suddenly. I paused, gripping the card tighter. I nodded heavily. I will. This was a chance to change my fate. I had no reason to refuse. She seemed to smile, a faint, fleeting expression in the dim cabin light. Good. She pushed the door open, her tall, curvy silhouette disappearing into the villa entrance. I sat in the car, motionless for a long time. The rain began to fade. I opened my palm and looked at the black business card, the gold lettering reflecting the dim streetlights. A different kind of life? I looked down at my soaked, cheap clothes and the sneakers I'd been wearing for 2 years, the soles already peeling apart. Then I thought of Julian Vance's arrogant face and the word loser spitting from his mouth. A mix of unwillingness and desire grew like weeds in my heart. I clenched the card tight, like it was the last lifeline in a drowning ocean. Elena Sterling. See you tomorrow. The next day, I deliberately wore my best outfit. It was just a white shirt washed until it was thin and a pair of dress pants that still held a crease, but at least I looked clean. At 8:50 a.m., I arrived downstairs at Sterling Industries. Looking at the skyscraper piercing the clouds and the well-dressed elite streaming in and out, I felt a sense of unreality. I took a deep breath and walked in. The receptionist stopped me politely. Sir, do you have an appointment? I'm looking for Miss Sterling. The receptionist's gaze shifted instantly from formulaic politeness to critical scrutiny. And you are? My name is Caleb Reed. Ms. Sterling asked me to come see her today. She checked something on her computer, then flashed a professional smile. Mr. Reed, please wait a moment. Ms. Sterling is in a meeting. She instructed me to have you guided to HR for processing. I nodded and followed her to the elevator. Along the way, I felt eyes on me, curiosity, judgment, and a hint of disdain. My clothes were completely out of place here. The HR manager was a middle-aged woman named Mrs. Higgins. She looked at me over her glasses, her eyes holding undisguised confusion. You're Caleb Reed? Yes, Mrs. Higgins. Ms. Sterling called personally to order your hiring. Mrs. Higgins adjusted her glasses and slid a contract toward me. Position, executive assistant to the CEO. Probation period, 3 months. Salary, $5,000 a month. 5,000. I stared at the number, my heart skipping a beat. For me, that was a fortune. Hustling as a driver, I barely scraped together a fraction of that working myself to death. Is there a problem? Mrs. Higgins asked when I didn't move. No, none. I snapped out of it, grabbed the pen, and signed my name. Done. Your desk is on the 36th floor, outside the CEO's office. I'll have Mia show you up. Mrs. Higgins took the contract back, her tone lukewarm. Soon, a girl in her early 20s walked in. She had a bouncy ponytail and cute freckles. Her eyes lit up when she saw me. You're the new CEO assistant? I'm Mia. We're colleagues now. Her enthusiasm was a stark contrast to Mrs. Higgins' ice. Hi, I'm Caleb. I smiled at her. Let's go, I'll show you your desk and give you the rundown of the CEO's office. Mia was chatty, filling me in on company gossip as we walked. The 36th floor was the executive suite. The decor was minimalist luxury, quiet enough to hear a pin drop. My desk was right outside Elena's office. It had an incredible view, overlooking most of Chicago. Wow, your spot is amazing, Mia said enviously. This was a special approval. This desk is usually empty. Before I could reply, a snide voice drifted over. Well, isn't it the new assistant? A rare guest. I looked over. A young man in a loud floral shirt, looking slick and sleazy, was leaning against a cubicle, eyeing me sideways. I recognized him. One of Julian's lackeys from the night before. Mia frowned immediately. Trent, stop slacking off. Trent ignored Mia completely. He stood up, sauntered over to me, looked me up and down, and curled his lip in a mocking sneer. Tisk TSK. I thought it was some Ivy League grad for Elena to personally hire him. Turns out, it's just a driver. His voice wasn't loud, but in the silent office, it carried perfectly. Colleagues at nearby desks stopped typing, looking at me with varying expressions. Mia's face flushed red. Trent, shut up. Caleb is the assistant, Ms. Sterling hired. Assistant. Trent laughed dramatically. What kind of assistant? Driving assistant? Or maybe a sleeping assistant? The comment was explicitly vulgar. Mia shook with anger. You're disgusting. I stopped Mia from charging at him. I looked at Trent calmly. I felt no anger, only a cold clarity. I knew this was Julian's opening move. Do you want to make my life hell? To let everyone know I was just a piece of trash relying on Elena to get in. What? Cat got your tongue. Trent grew bolder in my silence. Did I hit a nerve? Makes sense. A pauper like you, aside from driving, probably only has skills in bed to please a woman. Stifled snickers rippled through the office. I felt the gazes like needles. Just then, Trent, a cold voice came from behind me. It was Elena. She had emerged from her office unnoticed and was staring icily at Trent. The grin on Trent's face froze instantly. He snapped to attention. Ms. Sterling, I didn't hear what you just said. Say it again. Elena walked slowly toward him. Even though she was shorter, her presence crushed him. Sweat beaded on Trent's forehead. His lips moved, but no sound came out. My assistant. Is he someone you can humiliate? Elena's voice was frosted over. Who do you think you are? I didn't. Ms. Sterling, I was joking. Trent's voice trembled. Joking. Elena's lips curved into a chilling smile. Good. HR is about to play a much bigger joke on you. She stopped looking at him and turned to Mia. Mia, notify HR. Marketing specialist Trent is to be terminated immediately for sexual harassment of a colleague and misconduct. Also, tell legal to prepare a lawsuit against him. Trent's face went sheet white. Ms. Sterling. No, please. I was wrong. I was really wrong. He fell to his knees with a thud. I was just confused. Please give me another chance. The office was dead silent. Everyone was stunned by Elena's ruthless efficiency. I stood there looking at Trent weeping on the floor, then at the tall, cold back of the woman in front of me. My heart raced again, betraying me. Elena didn't turn back. She just said one thing to me. Caleb, come in. I followed her into her office. It was my first time inside. The space took up nearly a third of the floor, with massive floor-to-ceiling windows framing the magnificent city skyline. The decor was monochromatic, black, white, gray. Cool, restrained, powerful. Just like her. The air smelled faintly of cedarwood, the same scent she wore. Sit. She pointed to the chair opposite her desk. I sat body stiff. She poured a glass of water and handed it to me, her fingers brushing mine. Her fingertips were cool. Mine were burning hot. I pulled my hand back like I'd been shocked. She seemed to notice my awkwardness. The corner of her mouth lifted imperceptibly before returning to her icy mask. Don't take what just happened to heart, she said. Trent is Julian's cousin. Him targeting you as expected. I nodded. I understand. You don't blame me for dragging you into this? Her beautiful eyes seemed to pierce right through me. I shook my head, meeting her gaze. I'm grateful for the opportunity you gave me. It was the truth. Without her, I'd be struggling at the bottom forever, trampled by people like Julian without the right to fight back. She had given me a vine to climb. Even if it was covered in thorns, I would grip it tight. She seemed satisfied with my answer. Your job is simple. Handle my schedule, arrange meetings, and, when I need it, act as my driver. She paused, then added, and of course a shield. I understood immediately. Julian, understood, Ms. Sterling. In the office, call me Ms. Sterling. In private, call me Elena. I blinked, my heart missing a beat. In private, call her Elena. Was this a signal of closeness? All right, familiarize yourself with the environment. Here is my upcoming schedule. Organize it. She handed me a tablet, ending the conversation. I walked out of the office feeling like I was floating. Outside, security had already dragged Trent away. The office was quiet, but the atmosphere was weird. My colleagues looked at me with complex expressions. Awe, jealousy, curiosity. Mia leaned in, whispering, Caleb, you are legendary. Day one. And you got the CEO to fire a royal relative for you. Her eyes sparkled with worship. I smiled bitterly. Ms. Sterling is the formidable one. It's because of you. Mia insisted. Ms. Sterling has always been tough, but she's never burned a bridge with the Vance family so publicly for an employee before. You are definitely special to her. Special? I looked at the frosted glass door of her office, a ripple moving through my heart. Over the next few days, I settled into the role. The work was tedious, but not difficult. Elena was a demanding boss. A single typo would get a document rejected. But she was also a good teacher, pinpointing my errors with surgical precision. Under her pressure and guidance, I grew at an astonishing speed. As for Julian, he hadn't shown his face since that night. I guessed he was sulking after Elena's hardline. But the peace didn't last long. That afternoon, while I was prepping meeting materials, a call came in. It was from a key partner, Zenith Corp. Mr. Reed, I am so sorry. Because of a technician's error, the project files for our integration with your company have been completely formatted. The backups are corrupted too. The voice on the other end sounded frantic. We have to present to the board at 5 p.m. What are we going to do? My stomach dropped. That file was critical for Sterling Industries' core project for the second half of the year. Failing to present today would stall the project and humiliate the company. Don't panic. I'll report to Ms. Sterling immediately. I hung up and knocked on Elena's door. Upon hearing the news, her brows locked together tight. What does Zenith say? They say their tech team is trying to salvage it, but hopes are slim. Elena was silent for a few seconds, her eyes sharpening. It's 3 p.m., 2 hours to the presentation. You, go to Zenith Corp right now. Me? I paused. Yes, you. She stood up, walking to me, her eyes burning with intensity. Take our tech experts. Tell them, at all costs, recover that file before 5. Her tone brooked no argument. But I knew that low-level formatted data was statistically impossible to recover. Yet, seeing the trust in her eyes, I couldn't say no. Yes, Ms. Sterling. I gritted my teeth and took the mission. I rushed to Zenith with 2 of our top IT guys. The atmosphere in their tech department was funereal. Mr. Reed, it's hopeless. We've tried every commercial recovery software, Zenith CTO said, despair written on his face. My experts checked the drives and shook their heads. The drive was overwritten multiple times. The data structure is destroyed. Theoretically, it's gone. Everyone's hearts sank. I looked at the gibberish on the screen, fists clenching. Give up? Just like that. A thought flashed through my mind. In college, before I had to drop out, I was obsessed with data structures and low-level code. Maybe I could try that little program I wrote, the one I'd never shown anyone. Let me try, I said. Everyone looked at me in shock. The CTO frowned. Mr. Reed, this isn't a joke. Even your experts said. Let him try. A crisp female voice interrupted. I turned to see a woman in a sharp business suit. She was tall, with a figure that was pure fire. Veronica Cross, the project lead at Zenith. She was about 27, gorgeous, and radiated power. Her gaze landed on me, curious and probing. I trust that the man Ms. Sterling sent isn't incompetent. Ignoring the skeptical looks, I sat at the terminal. I took a deep breath, clearing my mind. The moment my hands touched the keyboard, my demeanor changed. If I was usually reserved, right now I was a blade unsheathed. My fingers flew. Lines of complex code cascaded down the screen like a waterfall. The onlookers were stunned. They couldn't follow what I was doing, but the sheer speed was terrifying. The CTO's jaw dropped, his disdain replaced by pure horror. Even Veronica, usually unflappable, had a glimmer of surprise in her eyes. Time ticked by. Sweat beaded on my forehead, soaking my shirt. The recovery algorithm was mentally exhausting, requiring millisecond-precise judgments on data streams. Finally, 10 minutes before 5, I hit the enter key one last time. The waterfall of code vanished. In its place, a familiar blue folder icon appeared. I double-clicked. Inside was the missing project file, intact. The tech department went dead silent, then erupted into cheers. It's back. It's actually back. My God, that's a miracle. The CTO rushed over, shaking my hand so hard he nearly crushed my bones. Brother, you're a god. I leaned back in the chair, exhaling a long breath, a smile touching my lips. Success. Veronica walked up to me and handed me a clean handkerchief. Wipe your sweat. Her voice held a note of gentleness I hadn't heard before. Thank you, Ms. Cross. I took the handkerchief. It smelled of jasmine. I should thank you, Caleb. Veronica looked at me, eyes full of appreciation and curiosity. I didn't expect Ms. Sterling to have a hidden ace like you. If I didn't know better, I'd think you were poached from a top hacker group. I smiled and didn't explain. Some things didn't need to be said. The presentation went smoothly. When I got back to the office, it was dark. On the 36th floor, only the CEO's office light was on. I knocked. Come in. Elena was standing by the window, looking at the city lights. Her silhouette looked lonely. Ms. Sterling, the file is recovered. Zenith's presentation was a success. She turned around. No joy, just calm. I know. Veronica called me. She praised you to the skies. She walked up to me, her eyes shining in the dim light. Caleb, exactly how many surprises are you hiding from me? Her voice was soft, inquiring. I felt her gaze brush my face like a feather, making my heart race. I just used to be interested in that stuff. I averted my eyes awkwardly. She smiled. She rarely smiled. When she did, the warmth melted the iceberg instantly. Let's go. To celebrate the project, and to reward our hero, I'm buying you dinner. Now. Yes, now. She grabbed her coat. What do you want to eat? My heart slammed against my ribs again. Was this a date? We went to a high-end steakhouse. Piano music, dim lights, couples everywhere. The atmosphere was subtle. Thank you for today, she said, raising her wine glass. It was part of the job. I clinked my glass against hers. She took a sip, cheeks flushing slightly, looking more alluring than usual. Caleb, what did you do before? My heart sank. The past was a wound I didn't want to open. I didn't finish college. Went straight to work, I said vaguely. Why? I fell silent. The bankruptcy, my father's illness, dropping out to pay debts, scars I didn't want to show anyone, especially her. In front of her, I want to be strong, capable, not a failure who couldn't even finish a degree. Seeing my reluctance, she didn't push. She just looked at me quietly. Everyone has a past, she said softly. What matters is who you want to become. Her words touched something deep inside me. The dinner ended in a strange, comfortable mood. I drove her back to the estate. When the car stopped, neither of us spoke. Good night, Ms. Sterling. She didn't get out. She turned to me, her eyes deep in the shadows. Caleb. Yes. Julian. He's coming back soon. Julian returned faster than she predicted. The next morning, his flashy red Ferrari was parked at the entrance. He was leaning against it, holding a massive bouquet of red roses, wearing a smug smile that made the female employees stare. When he saw me, the smile vanished, replaced by disgust. He walked straight up to me, shoved the roses into my chest, and said in a charitable tone, Hey, driver, give these to Elena. Tell her I'm waiting downstairs. I looked at him, expressionless. Sorry, Mr. Vance. I'm an executive assistant, not a delivery boy. Julian's face darkened. What did you say? Getting brave? When I tell you to do something, you do it. Cut the crap. My job description doesn't include running errands for you. I stepped around him toward the building. He grabbed my arm, eyes venomous. Caleb, don't push your luck. Just because she protects you doesn't mean you can step to me. You are a dog. When a master speaks, you obey. I stopped and slowly turned my head, staring him down coldly. Let go, and if I don't, he jutted his chin out, gripping harder. My patience was eroding. Just then, the revolving doors spun. Elena walked out, flanked by executives. She wore a white power suit, looking sharp and untouchable. When she saw us, her brow furrowed. Julian saw her and immediately let go of me, plastering a lovesick expression on his face. Elena, you came down. Look, I got these for you. He offered the roses. Elena didn't even glance at the flowers. Her eyes went straight to my red wrist where he had grabbed me. Her gaze turned glacial. Julian, I thought I warned you to stay away from my staff. Julian's smile froze. Elena, I just asked him for a favor. His name is Caleb. He is my chief assistant, not your servant. Her words were quiet ice picks. The executives around us pretended not to see, but I could tell they were holding back laughter. Julian turned red, then white. He hadn't expected to be humiliated so publicly. Elena, you're really going to fight me over a servant? He snapped. He is not a servant. Elena took a step forward, standing naturally by my side. He is my man. Boom. The sentence went off like a bomb. The executives dropped their jaws. Julian looked like he'd been struck by lightning, the roses tumbling to the ground. I was stunned. My mind went blank. I felt her cool hand slip into mine and squeeze tight. Elena, what? What are you saying? Julian stammered. I said Caleb Reed, is my boyfriend. She enunciated every word, lifting our joined hands. So, Julian, we are done. Stop harassing me, and stop harassing him. Leaving Julian petrified, she turned to the executives. Meeting canceled. Then she dragged me toward my beat-up Volkswagen. Drive. She got into the passenger seat. I started the car mechanically. In the mirror, Julian was still standing there, a discarded clown in the morning light. My heart was thumping, palms sweating. Ms. Sterling, about that. From now on, you are my boyfriend, she interrupted. This is just acting for Julian, right? I asked, holding on to a shred of reason. She turned to look at me, eyes complex. Do you want to be acting? I was stumped. Did I? Logic said yes. We were from different worlds. But emotionally, when she held my hand, the joy was undeniable. Seeing my silence, she smiled slyly. Until you give me a definite answer, let's call it acting. She paused. But as a boyfriend, you have duties. What? Duties? For example, she leaned in, warm breath hitting my face. Tonight, you're escorting me to a gala. The gala was at the most expensive hotel in Chicago. Wearing a bespoke Armani suit Elena provided, walking in with her on my arm, I felt like I was dreaming. Elena was breathtaking in a black backless gown that showcased her figure. She was the instant center of attention, and I, the man beside her, absorbed the envy and judgment of the room. Who's the guy? Never seen him. Looks like a boy toy she picked up. I straightened my back, trying to look composed. Elena squeezed my hand. Don't be nervous. Just smile, nod, and don't say much. We mingled. A pot-bellied man approached. Ms. Sterling, a pleasure. Mr. Wong, and this is my boyfriend, Caleb. Mr. Wong looked surprised, but quickly recovered. Young talent. You two look perfect together. I smiled politely, thinking of my bank account balance. Elena led me to a quieter corner. How are you holding up? Like a puppet. She laughed, the sound bright. You'll get used to it. This is our world. Lies, profit, and masks. Suddenly, a dissonant voice cut in. Well, CEO Sterling. Heard you dumped Julian. Moved on to a new flavor so fast. I turned. A young man in a loud pink suit stood there, smirking. Standing next to him was someone I didn't expect. Veronica Cross, the beauty from Zenith Corp. She wore a tight red dress, looking like a flame compared to Elena's ice. Seeing me, her eyes flashed with amusement. Ms. Sterling. Small world, Veronica said first. Ms. Cross. Elena nodded coolly. The pink suit guy, Braden, circled me, looking me up and down with exaggerated distaste. TSK. Elena, your taste is slipping. Julian was at least rich. This guy, he looks like a waiter. Elena's face darkened. Braden, watch your mouth. Am I wrong? Braden spread his hands, looking at Veronica. Ronnie, right? This pretty boy is only good for tricking naive women. Veronica didn't reply. She just watched me with interest. I felt anger rising. Not for me, but for Elena. I stepped in front of her. Sir, show some respect. Braden laughed loudly. Ha ha, a boy toy lecturing me. His face went nasty. Who do you think you are? I could make you disappear from this city with one phone call. Try it, I said, holding his gaze. The air grew tense. Elena tugged my sleeve, but Veronica spoke up. Braden, stop barking like a mad dog. Her voice was calm, but commanding. Mister, Reed here is no boy toy. Braden froze. Ronnie, what do you mean? Veronica walked up to me, smiled seductively, and did something shocking. She reached out and stroked my cheek. He's a man who can even make my heart skip a beat. Elena, you have good eyes. The room went silent. If Elena claiming me was a bomb, this was a nuke. Two of the most powerful women in Chicago facing off over me. Elena's expression turned truly ugly for the first time. She stared at Veronica's hand on my face, eyes shooting daggers. Ms. Cross. Elena's voice dropped to absolute zero. Is it appropriate to touch my man? It was territorial rage. Veronica pulled her hand back, rubbing her wrist where Elena had grabbed her. Why so nervous? I just find Caleb interesting. Here. She offered me a card. Call me sometime. I'm very interested in your technical skills. The innuendo was heavy. Elena snatched the card from my hand and slowly tore it in half. He won't be calling. Veronica's smile vanished. You really want to fight me, Elena? I'm not fighting. I'm protecting what's mine. Fine. Veronica gave me a deep, complicated look, appreciation mixed with challenge. We'll see. She turned and walked away like a queen. Braden scrambled after her. The storm passed, but the tension between Elena and me skyrocketed. Let's go. She dragged me out to the car. Silence reigned. She was angry. Ms. Sterling, are you proud? She snapped, looking out the window. What? Being fought over by two women. Does it feed your ego? Her voice held a sharp note of grievance. I didn't. Why didn't you dodge when she touched you? Were you going to take her card? I was speechless. I admitted for a split second I was stunned by Veronica, but I had no intent. I was just surprised. Surprised? She leaned in, invading my space. Can you react to this? She grabbed my face and kissed me. Hard. It was possessive, punishing, and desperate. My brain short-circuited. I felt the softness of her lips, the taste of wine. When she pulled back, panting, her eyes were misty, the ice gone. Caleb, tell me, whose man are you? The question echoed. I looked into her eyes, seeing vulnerability. Yours. The word melted the frost in her eyes. She smiled, brilliant as a star. She leaned back, fixing her hair, instantly regaining her composure. Drive. Take me home. I took a deep breath and started the car. The air wasn't cold anymore. It was thick with ambiguity. We arrived at the estate. Caleb. Yes. Was I too much tonight? She asked, voice uncertain. I understood what she meant. The aggression, the kiss. No, I said seriously. You were great. She defended me,